Our guide right here.
That's me. Alrighty. Got everybody coming.
Today, taking a tour of the cemetery right here where the great voodoo queen is at.
St. Louis cemetery, #1.
Let's go.
Because there were cemeteries that were around before this cemetery. Most notably a little one called St. Peter's Cemetery, which was, you guessed it, right over there at the end of St. Peter Street. That was a little quarter block in-ground cemetery, which was actually torn down in favor of this cemetery. It's all because the year 1788 was a really bad year. Anything that could go wrong did. We're talking city-destroying fires, flood, hurricane, pestilence in the form of yellow fever. And little St. Peter's, due to its in-ground nature, just filled that you cannot see. Goes underneath, called the caveau, French for cave. The caveau provides for buoyancy and weight distribution and is your final resting place, because instead of constantly shoving those cremains back, they'll eventually take them out and place them into the caveau. And some are even built so that the slab here doesn't go all the way back. So as you shove the cremains in the back, they just trickle down chimney style into one big happy family ash pit. Yeah, didn't get along before, you're gonna now. So the construction of the tomb, traditionally plaster over brick. And the care for the tomb. First of all, a few definitions. What is voodoo? Voodoo is a religion. Voodoo is a world religion. It is practiced in every single country of the Western Hemisphere and several throughout the Eastern Hemisphere. Most notably, its origin point, the sub-Saharan west coast of Africa, around what we today call Benin. Voodoo is archaeologically an ancient religion. We have evidence of its practice going back approximately 20,000 years. If not man's first religion, darn close, one of them. Today, Voodoo is in the top 10 most widely practiced religions in the world. Unfortunately, that west coast of Africa is also the slave coast, which is largely how it would spread, not necessarily. Now, due to a very liberal set of slave codes present only in this territory, only under the French and Spanish, if you were born of a free woman, then you too were born free. Therefore, she enters the caste known as the free persons of color. Free persons of color, why? They can move about freely. And she does. They can acquire and retain wealth. And she does. She applies her trade here in the city of New Orleans as a hairdresser. And it is through hairdressing that she comes to practice voodoo. What is that? Well, hairdressing that becomes voodoo queen. All during this time, a devout and practicing Catholic. Goes to Mass every day. Married in a Catholic ceremony. All children baptized in the Catholic faith. Is this day entombed in a Catholic cemetery. Not unusual. You will find that most of your practitioners of voodoo are also or were at one time Catholic. Voodoo and Catholicism have walked hand in hand for hundreds of years. Where you find one, you find the legend, has nothing to do with voodoo, has everything to do with why it's so difficult to get in the cemetery these days. Because the church said some time ago, this needs to stop. This is desecration, this is destructive, and people need to be disabused of this notion that they can go into Catholic cemeteries and start drawing on things. At the same time they said that, they also said that they don't want people leaving offerings anymore. That I don't really agree with. Because the offerings, they're not destructive, you know, quite the opposite. Yeah, in the Queen's Gambit, they compare the girl to Mr. Paul Morphy there. Because what she did in the show, he did in real life. No formal training. Learned to play chess just by watching other people. By the age of 9, defeated all the chess champions in town. Went on to be one of the greatest chess players in history. Now we'll see the tombs getting more colorful, like this one here, which I've been told is absolutely positively some sort of pink. You decide for yourself. That's simple. tomb here, which I, but in recent years, the cemetery historians and those tour guides have gotten on their case and said, would you please just do a little bit of research before you start the project and take a look at the original paintings of the original cemetery. You're going to discover something. Every tomb wasn't white. Spanish are a very colorful people. They have a very rich palette. And so now, when they do...
Teresa allowed them to just unmark them.
let's see. All right, this neighborhood here has the most recent addition to our cemetery, our newest tombs. The newest tomb is the Lejeune Felker tomb, 2015. Or the Wicker Man, not the bees! Yeah. All right. Now the largest of all these tombs, this great big one here, also has a Hollywood connection. So over the years I've been doing these tours, I've seen all these being built. That one, and that one, and that one. And today, they're no longer doing the plastic. Perpetual care is now mandatory. These great big entombments, meaning there are thousands of people. At last estimation, somewhere around 50,000 people, one block cemetery. That is why we use the tombs. So, did anybody...
The other ones are like, we're from England.
Yeah. Canada, eh?
Oh yeah, in Canada. This is how old they are. They're so worn out. Look at that. It's so crazy.
Now we'll see who was paying attention in American history class. The Protestant section. When we say the Protestants, what we're really talking about are the Americans. America bought the place in 1803, Louisiana Purchase. They moved on down and were primarily Protestant. Luckily for the newly arrived Americans, the bulk of them were Episcopalian, which we know as Catholic Light. Worked on the White House, Capitol Building, all that stuff. Came down here with his son, caught yellow fever, died. He was originally buried here when this area was much larger. They moved everyone to the original Protestant cemetery. Then that many people were still going to Marie and asking her for help. And he was also shocked at who was going, because it was apparently everyone. It was black, brown, white, poor, rich, visitors, locals. He said you'd see people from all walks of life approach her tomb with utmost humility. They would make the sign of the cross. They would then knock on the tomb. There's a little bit of truth. All of these stories, legends have knocking. It alerts the spirits within to your presence and then gives them a little bit of energy they can use to manifest and help you with your problem. It's the same reason, the whole reason we knock on wood. It's the same thing. And then they ask Marie for help in some aspect of their life. Losing more and more plaster. It's getting kind of rough. This one needs help. That one could use some love.
Jeez.
But unfortunately, we think that as many as 60% of these tombs are orphaned. Families die out. Families move away. Families just don't care about crazy Uncle Louie anymore. It happens.
So noted.
you start piling bricks up. Up and up and up and up. Little pattern you enjoy. Slather it over with plaster, chunking across. Voila! Step 2. Least expensive type of standalone tomb. But they tend to fall out of favor in the early 1800s. Why? Well, one person, one time only. Kind of defeats the whole tomb system. And being built on a swamp, they tend to